Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 6, text 47. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatenantaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yuktatamo mataha. So this is the conclusive verse of the sixth chapter, where Krishna, after having explained this yoga practice, this dhyana yoga or ashtanga yoga practice, he is now concluding, O Arjuna, yoginam sarvesham yoginam, of all these yogis, one who is madgatena antar atmana, within himself, he is serving me and thinking of me. Shraddhavan bhajate, yaha, one who is doing all this unto me, mam, saha yuktatamo mataha. He is the best of all. So Prabhupada translates this very nicely. And of all yogis, he who always abides in me with great faith, worshipping me in transcendental loving service, is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. So Prabhupada uses that word bhaja. Sarvesham yoginam madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate. That word bhajate, Prabhupada explains, it is not just worship, it means service. He picks out a root word and explains that in the purport. You can study the details. Significantly, he says, one can avoid worshipping a respectable man or a demigod and may be called discourteous, but one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. And then Prabhupada quotes this Bhagavatam shloka, Na bhajanti avajananti sthanad brashtad patanti adhaha. So that is our constitutional position, to render service to the Supreme Lord. If we rebel, why should I surrender? That is our diseased condition. Just like a person in the state, he says, why should I go serve the government? I will not pay taxes. Then what has to happen? He'll be sent to the jail, and there he serves the government. Serving he cannot avoid. He has to be either serving willfully and become an independent citizen outside, living happily, or serve the government by hard work in the jail. Of course, this is just a material example. The government puts you by force. Krishna sends you here into this material world by your free will, where you are struggling, you don't understand. Mamai vamsho jiva loke jiva bhutah sanatanaha manah shasthani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. Karshati means krushi. It's like work, hard work. In this world, everybody is working hard. Nobody can live free. Even the rich, to maintain their name on the top list, they have to work hard. Even if they take rest for a little bit, they'll be going down on the list. So Maya has trap for everyone. At every level, Maya has trap. From the poor man to the rich man, you have to work hard. Struggle, not just work hard, you struggle Karshyati means you're struggling with these six senses, which is five senses and the mind. So this is called illusory existence. Thinking, oh, I don't have to serve God. I can live by myself. See, I can earn by myself. I can be happy. I want to be the center of attraction. Why I have to serve somebody else? We try to avoid that service and we end up serving so many things. We serve our family, we serve our boss in the company, we serve our community, and we even serve pets by bringing pets. And the most illusory thing is, even though in front of us, the people that we serve are not grateful, the relations break, nobody is happy with our service. You may give the best service to your family, but there will be a quarrel. There will be fight the moment you announce, this is what I'm going to divide my property. Children will not be happy. You see all kinds of crazy things, crazy news we see nowadays. For all the best service you do to your company, the company may, at one day, you go and try to swipe the badge and it will not work. Unceremoniously removed. Prabhupada gives the best example. Mahatma Gandhi tried to serve the country selflessly, but one section got displeased, and one representative of that section killed him. So, this is how it ends up by our illusory service to so many things by rebelling against God. So, this is fall down from our position. So, one who is intelligent comes back to his position of serving God. That is called bhajanti. So, that's the explanation of the word bhajati. The worship it cannot be used for worship. Worship is can be used for demigods. We go to the devatas for worship, so we get something in return. But bhajati exact appropriately for Krishna means service, unmotivated, uninterrupted service. Of course, one can go to Krishna to worship and get something in return. Krishna does that, and it is encouraged you do that if that is what your intention. But ultimately, that is not the highest thing. If you want to be suprasidati, very happy, blissful, then you have to render service which is unmotivated. That's what gives us real pleasure. And then Prabhupada mentions that this culmination of all these yogas is bhakti. If you consider these yogic paths as the ladder, the steps of the ladder, the first comes karma yoga, then gnana yoga, then dhyana yoga, and bhakti yoga. Prabhupada also mentions what is each of these yogas mean. Karma yoga means when you are working nicely in your karma, in your prescribed duties, without fruitive results. That is the karma yoga path. And when it increases in knowledge and renunciation, that is the gnana yoga path. And when it increases in the meditation on the super soul by different physical exercises, that is called Ashtanga yoga or Dhyana yoga. And finally, when it comes to the point of serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, it is called Bhakti yoga. So, factually, Bhakti yoga is the ultimate goal. But to analyze Bhakti yoga minutely, one has to understand these other yogas. So, one who sticks to a particular point, like a karma yogi, he is sticking to that point and does not make further progress, is called by that name, karma yogi. A Gnana yogi is sticking to his to that particular step or point and does not make further progress, he is called Gnana yogi. Similarly, Dhyana yogi, Raja yogi, Hatha yogi. But if one is fortunate enough to come to the point of Bhakti yoga, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all other yogas. So, to become Krishna conscious is the highest stage of yoga. So, there was one class Prabhupada gave, and after that, one student he got up and he asked a question to Prabhupada. Swamiji, can one practice Hatha Yoga at the same time as Krishna consciousness? So Prabhupada said, why do you want to spend so much time with that body? And Prabhupada said, the idea is that ultimately we are spirit soul. You are not this body. This body is not as important as the soul. So if you neglect the spirit soul and spend so much time on the body, that is not good. And anyway, ultimately you have to come to Krishna consciousness. So why not take to it fully? Of course, as Prabhupada other times, for the health reasons, he said you should do what is needed. Because just like the car or vehicle needs to be serviced, needs to be cleaned, needs to be kept in order. But the purpose is to take us to the destination. And importantly, the driver has to be active. The driver has to be properly knowledgeable. If the driver is neglected, how much ever you take care of the car, you will not be able to go to the destination. So, Krishna consciousness means taking care of everything else appropriately, not neglecting it, but focusing on where to go, how to go, educating ourselves, the path, talking to the right people, how to progress, keep progressing on the path. Doesn't matter even if there are some hiccups on the way. We continue to progress. That is the path of Krishna consciousness. If we forget that, oh, I have to reach there on time. Oh, I stop here, take some exit and spend a lot of time chit chatting or, taking photos of my car, always decorating my car. It is like all these other processes. But focus has to be on Krishna consciousness. And then Prabhupada mentions, how does one come to this highest point of bhakti yoga? Because in this world, you see, there are lots of people who are practicing spirituality in their own way. Karma yogis, gnana yogis, hatha yogis. Then how does, if bhakti yoga is really the highest, then why they are not able to come? What does it take for one to come to bhakti yoga? So Prabhupada writes that in the purport. It is by great fortune that one comes to Krishna consciousness path, on the path of bhakti yoga, to become well situated according to the Vedic direction. So, what is this great fortune? Is it like Krishna randomly is picking people? Oh, now he is fortunate. Let him take the path of bhakti yoga. What is this fortune? Is it just a luck by which one comes to this highest point? Or there is some method to this madness? So, to illustrate this point, I'd like to quote one instance during Prabhupada's time when he was giving a class in Seattle. So he gave the class, he exited the room, and then suddenly Prabhupada re entered the temple hall It was very unusual. And they offered obeisances and waited in keen anticipation. Why he did that? Something must have happened. And also, his mood was quite grave. And he again sat on the Vyasasana, which is even more unusual, and asked them to sit when they were about to exit. And and then he started to speak, and he started to recite some prayers and all of that before speaking. And then finally Prabhupada revealed, I have just received one telegram from India. He said, the person who gave me sannyasa has left his body. And he was silent, he was meditating. And then he said, you know, when a person accepts sannyasa or renounced order of life, he has to accept it from another person who is in the renounced order of life. So he said, this another person who gave him that renounced order, that person left the body. And then he recounted how in his own life he never thought that he shall accept the renounced order of life. Actually, Prabhupada said his plan was to become very rich and then serve the movement of his spiritual master. Why should I go and ask small money from so many people? Let me become very rich. Even an astrologer told he'll become something big like Birla and all that. But see how Krishna changed the whole thing. So he was in that kind of mindset. And he said, in my family life, when I was in the midst of my wife and children, suddenly he would get dream that his spiritual master, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was calling him and Prabhupada was following him. And then he would wake up from the dream and he would get little horrified. Oh, my Guru Maharaj wants me to become sannyasi? How can I accept sannyasa? How can I leave my family? How can I leave my plan? I wanted to serve like this. So he was horrified at the idea of becoming a mendicant. And that dream continued to come again. And then Prabhupada said, this is called fortunate. This is called fortunate. And Prabhupada's voice started to become choked when he said, my Guru Maharaj, he pulled me out from this material life, even though I was hesitating, I was reluctant, I had my own plans. But he pulled me out from this material life. This is called fortunate. And for moments, Prabhupada could not speak. And everyone present could see the tears coming from his eyes. And even though the occasion was the passing away of the person who awarded him sannyasa, Prabhupada was speaking more of his own spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who had called him, who had dragged him, who had saved him and made him sannyasi through this God brother who gave him sannyasa. So this is called fortune. So that means the fortune is when a pure devotee drags us out of this material existence. Like Prabhupada himself, he chose to come to this West. He could have chosen to go to any other country. He could have chosen to go to, you know, Russia, who knows? Or he could have chosen to start his movement in India, which he did, which could not be, was not successful. So he came to the West, and by touching these conditioned souls, he made them fortunate. So fortune falls on the living entity by the causeless mercy of Krishna and his pure devotee, by their spreading out this mission of Krishna consciousness, by knocking on the doors by performing Sankirtana, by making them fortunate to have prasadam. Anything on these kind of things make a, a conditioned soul fortunate. That is why anyone who is trying to spread Krishna consciousness is supposed to be the most magnanimous, because by that activity we are making a conditioned soul very fortunate. And by that small amount of fortune, their path for Krishna consciousness opens up. Like we go to distribute books door to door, and we knock several doors, and a lot of Westerners and Asians, they open the doors, and sometimes they don't even know how to pronounce. We make sure that at least they hear. They try to close the door. So many of them, they try to, oh, I'm not interested. They try to close the door. And we try to at least make them hear, oh, this is from Hare Krishna temple. Oh, this is Krishna yoga, Bhakti yoga. At least the word Krishna, Hare Krishna, if they can hear. And if somebody is willing to talk, we at least make them chant the Hare Krishna mantra. And at least make them look at the book, read a paragraph, or even make them touch the book. This is called becoming fortunate. And they are not knowing about that. This is called Agnata Sukruti. And gradually, when that Agnata Sukruti becomes piled up, at one point that matures into faith. And then further develops their Krishna consciousness. So that is how one becomes fortunate and takes up Bhakti Yoga. And then Prabhupada mentions in the purport, what does one do in Bhakti Yoga? So it's very nice to reinforce what Prabhupada writes here. The ideal yogi, concentrates his attention on Krishna, who is called Shyama Sundara, who is as beautifully colored as a cloud, whose lotus like face is as effulgent as the sun, whose dress is brilliant with jewels, and whose body is flower garlanded. Illuminating on all sides is his gorgeous luster, which is called the Brahma Jyoti. He incarnates in different forms such as Rama, Nrsimha, Varaha, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he descends like a human being as the son of Mother Yashoda. And he is known as Krishna, Govinda, and Vasudeva. He is the perfect child, husband, friend, and master. And he is full with all opulences and transcendental qualities. If one remains fully conscious of these features of the Lord, he is called the highest yogi. So we should become fully conscious of these features of the Lord, as Prabhupada is explaining. His form, his pastimes, his dealings with his different relations. Like for example, friends. It's written in Nectar of Devotion. How Krishna deals with friends. What are different kinds of friends. We should become conscious of these features of the Lord. So in Nectar of Devotion, it is written, there are friends who are younger than Krishna and they are always attached to him and who give him all kinds of service. They are classified as sakhas. And some of those names are also given. Vishala, Vrishabha, Ojasvi, like that. And all these sakha friends of Krishna seek only to serve him. And they rise early in the morning and immediately go to Krishna's place and wait at the door to see Krishna and to accompany him to the pasturing grounds. And in the meantime, Krishna would be dressed by Mother Yashoda. And when she would see a boy standing at the door, she would call him, hey, Vishal, what are you doing? Why are you standing here? Come here. And then he will come here inside, and Yashoda Mata will be dressing Krishna. and Vishal would be trying to help put on Krishna's ankle bells. And Krishna would jokingly strike him with his flute. And then Mother Yashoda would call, "Hey Krishna, what is this? Why are you teasing your friend?" And Krishna would laugh, and the friend also would laugh. So, like this. And these sakhas would take care of the cows who were going hither and thither. So, like this, there are different kinds of friends: sakhas, priya narmas. Like that, progressively, we can meditate on these different kinds of relations, how Krishna deals with them, different kinds of relations Krishna has with those in the Vatsalya rasa, those in servitude, those with conjugal rasa. So, meditating on various features, opulences, incarnations even, forms of the Lord. It's not that one should only study Rasa Leela. Any activity, pastime, opulence, even of that of this material world, the tattva of this material creation, everything provided in Bhagavatam, when we meditate on this is the highest yoga or bhakti yoga. And Prabhupada concludes the purport by this shloka from Svetashvatara Upanishad. Yasya deve para bhaktir yadha deve tadha gurau tasyaite kathita hyardha prakashante mahatmanah. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. To illustrate this point, so Prabhupada, he was talking to the disciples after he was successful. When they got a new temple at one point in one of the branches, actually in New York, he was recounting his initial days. He said, "My ambition was to start a temple in New York, and I had no residential place. What to speak of a temple? No, even not even a residential place. And I was thinking of returning to India. Practically every week, he would go to the shipping company and he would ask, 'Oh, when is the next ship going back?' And they would say, and then Prabhupada said, 'Oh, no, let me try for some more time.' And eventually, I had faith in my spiritual master. So, by the grace of Krishna and by the grace of my Guru Maharaj, I've got this place." So, he said, at that point, he told this secret. Yasya deve para bhaktir yadha deve tada guru. This is the secret of progress in Krishna consciousness. By the mercy of Guru and by the mercy of Krishna, you can achieve all success. Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chittete Koriya Ikya. You take the words of the Guru as the summum bonum, the ultimate goal in life, and you'll get all success. All the imports of the Vedic literature will be revealed for those who are faithful on the Guru, on the words of the Guru, and serves the instruction of the Guru. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Dandavats, Prabhu.
Hare
Prabhu,
Krishna.
we talk about causeless mercy. At the same time, we also hear about ye yathamam prapadyante tam stitikshava bharata, where Krishna reciprocates based on one's feeling towards him. How do we understand, Prabhu? Because it feels, I mean, on the face of it, it feels that he blesses based on your intention in the or desire in the heart. Then how do we understand causeless mercy when things like the
No, causeless mercy is typically used in a different context where how one takes up Krishna consciousness. That is, there is no cause. It's not that one deserved. Even though typically in the Vedic culture, when one practices in the previous lives of austerities, tapasya, Vedic studies, charity, aho bataswapachoto gariyan, te pustapaste juhuvuhu sasnurarya brahmanu churnama grananti. So only after having practiced all these things, typically one can take up Krishna consciousness. Krishna also confirms, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. But it's not necessary that to take up Krishna consciousness, we should have been done with all these things in the previous lives. By the mercy of a spiritual master, he can give that qualification. So this is called causeless. And the spiritual master may choose anybody, random person, who is not necessarily equipped with all these things in the previous lives. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also chose apamaram yo vitatara. So that's when we use that word causeless mercy. The mercy is given not necessarily because you did something to deserve it. But ye yadha mam prapadyante tam stadhaiva. After having come to Krishna consciousness, Krishna sees your desire and Krishna reciprocates based on your desire. So that's the slightly different contexts.
So causeless mercy, you're saying only it's more on the inception of the journey, Prabhu, like the very beginning, because you we also said that you mentioned now also for someone to get attracted to anything, you said the sukriti has to be built up, otherwise they don't take it up.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so both are playing at the same time, Prabhu. Some are getting through Sukriti, some causeless, or it's always causeless mercy.
No, see, that Agnata Sukruti means causeless mercy only, no? They are not seeking it, but they have got it. So that is called causeless. They did not seek it.
Hmm.
Like somebody who is walking by on the street, they did not seek to hear the holy name, but they heard it unconsciously or without seeking it. They did not want to, they did not plan to eat prasadam or they didn't know the effect of prasadam. They are eating it. This is called Agnata Sukruti. How they got that Sukruti? Not because they deserved it, they planned it, because the devotees happened to be there. So this is called causeless. Causeless means there is no reason, there is no effort from one side. So Krishna gave it to them because the pure devotee decided, now let me give. So similarly, that there is a Krupa Siddhi concept also, where by the mercy of pure devotee, one becomes elevated, like Bali Maharaj. Because Prahlad Maharaj was desiring for his grandson. And by association of Prahlad Maharaj, he got, even though he didn't practice, Krishna gave. So the causeless mercy is typically by the mercy of a pure devotee, Krishna releases that. When the pure devotee decides, for whatever reason, there is no fixed formula why the pure devotee decides. Like they wonder why Kaliya got that much fortune of the dust of Krishna's lotus feet, which is rare even for Brahma and Shiva to get. So it is purely because of the Kaliya's wives are devotees and they were praying for him. Krishna released that causeless mercy. But once you come and you practice, you should not say, oh, let me wait for causeless mercy. Some pure devotee will pray for me and I'll progress. That may happen. It's up to the will of the pure devotee to pray for you and bless you. But we should not depend on that. our progress in service, our progress in Krishna consciousness should be based on our efforts, our sincere efforts. One should not, after having come to Krishna consciousness, feign, oh, that, okay, let Krishna reciprocate, then I'll progress anyway. Krishna knows that. Based on your efforts, he will reciprocate.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. That's very helpful. An example is very helpful, Prabhu. Like Kirtan or Prasadam. It's not
Yeah.
an effort from their side, but it happened to be there through the causeless mercy. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.